Introduction, friends, just look at this. This is not the sun, but we mean 4.5 billion years ago. Yes, it is believed that when meaning was born, it was such a world where there was only fire. Everybody on Earth, the place was a sea of lava, and the conditions were so it was bad that the Earth looked like hell. So friends, I've made many videos on it. But the video is most special because it is my favorite planet is on Earth. The planet but I was born on the same planet as you. People were also born. Meaning of this universe, it is the only planet where there is life, and Earth is the planet from which we all depend. The story is connected. That is, in simple words, it is said if we go, Earth is the best in this universe. Planet. And in today's video, we will learn the entire story of Earth. How Earth was created and how it created the universe, created the rarest thing, i.e. life. So friends, if we understand the story of Earth, if we want to know, we have to start from the beginning. That means we have to go back in time, and we will have to see that our meaning after all, how was it born, Earth creation. So friends, this is the story from today 4.6 billion years ago. There was nothing in our solar system, no planet, no sun, and no Earth. If there was anything at that time, it was a mixture of gas and dust. It was a huge cloud that was millions of years old. This cloud was moving in the Milky Way, mainly composed of hydrogen and helium gas, and we call it the solar nebula. The solar nebula keeps rotating in space like this. But one day something strange happened, approached a star about to die, and whenever a star dies, it explodes. So as soon as that star exploded, gravity began to do its work. This lump of dust, the clouds began to collapse due to gravity, and it started spinning very fast. Now while rotating, its center became very hot, where our flax was born. So first of all, our flax was born, and when the flax was born, a disk of dust formed around the sun called, we name it the protoplanetary disk. Now its meaning is hidden in its name itself. Proto means first to be created, and plyary means planets, the disk that forms before the planets. First this disk was made, and after that planets. Yes. Because these disks of dust, so when it was around young sun, when it was orbiting, the dust present in it particles collide with each other and grow larger, which first became a dance, and then when this small rocks millions of years apart, then he became rocky. Planets like our Earth now I was born, but this wasn't the place, that's what we know. The temperature here is 12,000 degrees, it was more than Celsius, and everywhere here there were oceans of lava waiting to cool down. Meaning a world of burning fire, but before it cooled down, it took a lot. It was so strange that it was hard to even imagine. Because when meaning is created, then its size is as big as it wasn't as it is today. This is a comparison to today. I was 10% smaller and had one thing: the moon was also missing. So the question arises, what happened that the size of the Earth, it has also grown, and our moon has also been born? Moon formation, friends, when our young Earth was cooling down, so an accident happened with it, which was its I increased the size, and secondly, I gave it a gift. He also gave us what we today call the moon. Let's find out what happened today, friends. To 4.5 billion years ago, when the Earth was cold, if it was happening, then a planet as big as Mars would come collided with the meaning we give to names Theia. Theia coming from Earth at such a speed, when they collided, the meaning was shattered into pieces. According to estimates, Theia's speed is 9 km per second, and there is so much speed that it is difficult to even imagine. It's difficult. For comparison, if we look at the speed of bullet, it is also more than 650 seconds at 4,500 feet. Now we're 4,500 feet, and whereas 9 km, i.e. Theia, it was 7 times faster than a bullet. And when it collided with the meaning became like lava. It boiled over. Almost half the Earth's surface is space. I just went in, and this collision was so violent that the Earth's upper mantle was absolutely destroyed, and the core material like the lava also reached the surface. Within seconds, Earth became a molten ball. And what blown into material space, some of that meaning, but I started coming back, and around some meaning began to orbit, which first formed a ring. Later, a new ring was built inside that ring. The world was born, which Hama called the moon. It is believed that when the moon is born, it was very hot. By the way, the moon more than 3.5 million kilometers away from Earth, but friends, at that time the moon was just Earth was only 22,500 km away from Earth. It was so close that if we had seen it, it seems like a melted world without meaning it is forming above. Well, the moon is born now, it was over, but one question still needed to be answered. Didn't you understand how the size of the Earth increased? So friends, the thing is that the meaning of Theia after the collision, a ball of lava was formed. It started getting cold again, and when it got cold, it was raining asteroids on it. There used to be what we call LHB, so does LH. There was a time when for millions of years asteroids continued to rain down on Earth, due to which, firstly, the size of the Earth is 10 times larger. Increased by 20%, and the second meaning is something I found the reason for starting life on Earth. It was made, and that thing was water. Music, water on Earth, friends. The thing is that when our meaning is created, if it happened, there was no water on it from the beginning. Because when it was born, it was so hot it was believed that liquid water did not exist on it. So the question arises as to whether how did the water come in? So as I said, asteroids on Earth for millions of years it rained, so let's get into the details. Let's see what happened. Friends, from today 4.1 billions of years ago, when our moon was formed and a solid surface had already appeared on Earth, then something strange was happening in the solar system. The outer planets of our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, strange, he started acting up. He was very active at that time. They used to be close, and their orbit is also similar to today's. It used to be quite small in comparison. It so happened that because they were close to each other, began to disturb the orbits of the stars, and most Jupiter was causing more disturb. Because Jupiter was the largest, and when it is born, it will come further inside the solar system, but before that it was known to the inner planets. Saturn pulls it back started. Now with Saturn's gravity, Jupiter started to lag behind, but because it is the largest planet. So its intensity gravity pushes Saturn very hard, and when Saturn got hit, so he killed Uranus, and Uranus killed Neptune. Now that Neptune, when it got hit, it moved towards the Kuiper belt. He started going inside, and he saw a lot of Kuiper belt objects disturbed. Well, now what is this Kuiper belt? If you don't know, let me tell you that planet Neptune next, a region starts where trillions of objects of gold affair they are forming and orbiting around the sun. Such as asteroids, comets, dwarfs, planets, and ices, etc. These regions, our sun is very far away, and our ex-planet Pluto also falls in this region. Pluto is also inside the Kuiper belt. And if you want to know about Pluto, I have made a detailed video on this, in which I explained it well, what happened to Pluto. This video, you can find it in my Pluto playlist. I'll leave the rest at the end of the video. Also put in commit screen, bio, and pin. I will give you more time to find you, no problem. Anyway, back to the topic. So friends, we're talking about Kuiper of the belt. So the Kuiper belt is one such region which is very far from the sun. So that is why here there are asteroids and comets, many of them, but the ice is frozen. So what happened was that when Neptune sent these asteroids, if disturbed, it will travel towards the inner planets. Started moving, and then to millions of years these rained down on Earth. What we call it today heavy bombardment. Around 300 million, these asteroids wreaked havoc on Earth for years. He kept making noise, but it brought ice with it, which slowly turned into water and spread to the Earth. It started to collect, meaning the economy was now in danger. But one question still lingered in my mind. Rings the bell that Artha has given this water, how could he have held it? Because for him so an atmosphere was needed, right? Atmosphere music, friends, let's talk about an atmosphere. Before doing this, we should know that what is the atmosphere and what does it do? Friends, an atmosphere is actually made up of gases, is a sheet of material that covers the surface of a planet. Around is formed when the planet is very close to the Earth. All are gases, and those gases are gravity would be held around the planet because of so these sheets perform many functions. Like maintaining the temperature of the planet, harmful radiations coming from the sun do not let it enter the planet. The gases inside are taken from the planet, don't let them go out. Control the weather and make a water cycle that don't leave the water planet. Water evaporate and remain within the atmosphere and it falls back as rain. So all this work there is an atmosphere and meaning the atmosphere does the same thing. Plants produce oxygen, so what is the meaning? Atmosphere that oxygen goes out of the earth, it doesn't give out oxygen. He holds it so we can breathe. Similarly, when water is vaporized, so that also starts accumulating in the atmosphere, due to which clouds are formed and water rains back. It goes away as rain. That is, if the atmosphere, if it is not there, then any gas, be it oxygen or carbon dioxide, any other gas goes into space, and the water will also evaporate and will go into space. So if the atmosphere, if it is not there, then neither will there be water on the meaning, and neither does life. So let's now understand the meaning. How was the atmosphere formed? Friends, when Earth was born, it took some energy from the solar nebula. The gases were attracted, but because those someone to hold the gases, if there was no atmosphere, those gases would remain in space. Escaped, and still some gases remained, so they had solar winds coming from the sun, blew it up. So the question arises, when if there is no gas left, then the atmosphere will end. How did it happen? So friends, what happened today was that to 4.4 billion years ago, when the Earth was cold, was there. Then such a volcanic eruption occurred on Earth, activity started, which made sense the map itself changed. This volcanic activity was so intense that it completely filled the Earth with what we today call he is a Hadean eon. Hadean is a Greek word, which comes from Hades. Hades, a Greek god who ruled the underworld, that is, on hell. Hell is actually a Hindi word that means a world which is underground and the environment is like hell. Hades was the name of a Greek god, and eon, it means period, i.e. Hadean ion. There was a period when the underworld, i.e. hell as it was. Even though this period was very terrible. But in this period our economic atmosphere was formed because the gases that were released from that lava, they were coming out of the Earth's gravity held around him a force that slowly it started giving birth to an atmosphere. What happened was that the water that came from those asteroids, but it had been coming for 100 million years, kept collecting on the meaning, and then again and again it kept pouring down like rain. These rains had meaning, but we created oceans, rivers, and many more. Water is absorbed by our surface and goes down. He also sent us something which we are taking out from the ground today. They use it. That is, whatever amount of water is available on Earth exists today, whether it's above ground or all that meaning under the ground, but from the beginning it wasn't there. But every single drop came from outside. Next time you drink water, do this drink while imagining that I am a space flyer drinking something that's billions of years old. It's old. So Earth is now on atmosphere, had arrived. But this atmosphere, there must be something to protect. I wanted it. So that's why Artha had created a magnetic field that would not have existed if it had not. Perhaps there would not even be an atmosphere today. Magnetic field music. Friends, have you ever thought that Mars, why doesn't it have an atmosphere? There is neither liquid water nor rain there, nor will life be able to survive there. That means if we go to Mars and create our own space, when we took off our suit, within seconds your blood will boil. You'll suffer brain damage and we will fall unconscious until we won't die. And all this on Mars, why would there be? Because there's no atmosphere. No, why is there no atmosphere there now? So friends, the answer is magnetic. Mars has no magnetic field. No. Because of which Mars, the atmosphere has become so thin today that it's almost like it doesn't exist. Now what is a magnetic field and how does it work? Can it be done? Understand this first. Friends, the magnetic field is actually the result of a magnet, around which things are attracted and it repels, just like when we strike an iron, bring the object close to a magnet, so an invisible force pulls that thing towards itself. It pulls in. And so does the magnet, bringing two bean poles close to each other, so the same invisible force is between them both. It is throwing the magnets away. We call this invisible force a magnetic field. And similar magnetic field Earth also has a lot of meaning in the core molten iron, whose continuous movement creates a magnetic field around the Earth. Field is being created, and meaning is the big magnet remains. Now this is the meaning of what does the magnetic field do. It comes from the sun. repel dangerous incoming solar winds, and it does not reach our atmosphere. That is, if Earth had this, if there were no magnetic field. The solar wind directly collides with our atmosphere, and it would destroy it slowly, like today. It is believed that billions of years ago, Mars also had one. Mars used to have a magnetic field that to the atmosphere and its oceans it was protected. Even on Mars there is liquid. There were oceans and an environment similar to Earth. It was, but only as long as it was magnetic. It is said that Mars had a magnetic field. The field disappeared somewhere and all the people of Mars, the oceans, went into space. Mars is a mud, a pile of it was formed, and I called it Mars. Well, in the part 3 video I also explained this video. I'll put it on the end screen and bio, and you'll also find the pin in the commit. Let's get back to the topic. Let's talk, friends. It was about the magnetic field and then about the Earth. Magnetic fields influence Earth's atmosphere, protected, and thus our atmosphere he escaped destruction. Now a discussion on the meaning. There was an atmosphere. There was also a magnetic field. So let's move on to the most important question. How did life on Earth begin? Life on Earth, friends, in our entire solar system, there is no planet on which life exists. Yes, in fact, I have seen videos on every planet. I have made it, and I have also told you that what's there on the other planets. Because when